Okay, it is 6:06 on September 25th, and we're going to start the curriculum and instruction meeting. In attendance are myself, Beverly Albright.
Tanya Bell.
Kristen Thompson.
Jennifer Leone. Angela Owens.
Rod Hurley.
Tom Holder.
And Julie Olafson.
All right.
What is that?
Whoa, what's that?
I don't know.
That's not me, not even on.
Hers isn't even on.
Okay. Starting off with the curriculum review cycle.
Yes, actually the first two items kind of wanted together as one because I really have those items on the agenda to just let you know our plans moving forward and what we really want to focus on during strategic planning. And that would be, we'd like to develop a curriculum review cycle that follows a 6-year plan. And this is to allow us to stay on track with curriculum trends, and it would help us to level out our budgeting for resources. And with a 6-year cycle, every content area would then kind of know when their curriculum's up for review, when they're going to be looking to update their resources if needed. And then the MTSS structure is on there to let you know that we're focused on that as well. We want to evaluate our structure in each of the buildings. We've been resourced well for multi-tiered system of supports. So now we're going to just take a closer look at our schedules in each building to ensure that we're using it the way it's intended to support all of our students. So that's why I put those on there.
Okay. Can you talk to the structured literacy grant?
Yeah, so the structured literacy grant is something that came to us. Senator Katie Muth worked with the Chester County IU to secure funding through the American Rescue Plan Act to support reading achievement in schools in her district, which is Senate District 44. And for Berks County, the reason we're included in that is her district includes Boyertown, Twin Valley, and us. So for Berks County, it's just 3 school districts. And so we didn't really want to necessarily participate in the grant if it involved a ton of extra work for our teachers or a new program that we couldn't evaluate first. And we didn't want to just jump just because money was being thrown at us. So us and I think a few other districts kind of said that, like, we really don't want to just jump at something just because money's being thrown our way if there were a lot of strings tied to it. So what they are allowing us to do is get an audit first. So this audit is done by a company called Schools Cubed, and it's for grades K through 6, by the way. This whole grant is just for K through 6. The audit focuses on universal instruction, interventions, assessments, database decision-making, school leadership, and the procedure for the audit would be that along with school leadership, a team comes in and goes through all of the classrooms and they observe what's going on. They interview school leadership. They collect artifacts like our data protocol and meeting agendas that we have for looking at our data when we're looking at reading. And then after that, they generate a report of next steps so that they can help us to create a vision for improvement in literacy. So our plan is to do it in all of our 3 buildings. So we had a meeting with all our reading specialists, our building administrators, so they're all on board. They're very excited for the whole audit to happen. And it's happening in the fall. I think the first one's in the beginning of November, we have one in the middle of November, and then in the beginning of December. And then after that, we will get some recommendations, and I will keep you posted on what that shows.
Okay, and what are they giving us for this?
It'll be like recommendations and next steps.
But as far as the grant?
Yeah.
So the grant, so the audits are about $6,500 each. So it'll pay for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to pay for any of that. And then after that, some of their things that they will pay for are certain programming, professional development, which is the piece I'm most interested in.
Okay.
And so we get to then from there say, as a team,
What you want. Okay.
And just to interject, when you say 6,500 each, that's for each building.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, so PC 6,500, IC 6,500, and then middle school 6,500.
And they're only doing half at the middle school. Correct. Fifth and
Yeah,
sixth.
it was 6,500 for any building over 250, something like
So the middle school qualified, okay.
that. Yep.
Okay. All right, and the next topic is steals.
And I just wanted to keep us up to date on what's going on with that, since we have been talking about it for a few years in Pennsylvania Department of Education. So here at Daniel Boone, over the past year and a half, we've been trying to keep on top of the STEEL standards. They go into effect, so this coming year, our fourth graders are going to take the PSSAs based on the standards that we have now currently. And then next year, our students in fifth grade will be taking the PSSAs according to these new STEEL standards. So the way we've been keeping on top of it is we're making sure that we take advantage of all the BCIU offerings. They've been doing a lot of professional development with that. Our elementary teachers are going through the elementary immersion, which we're trying to get as many of our teachers to go to that as possible and then bring it back to the rest of their teams. And then secondary, we're trying to get as many people to go to that session as well. And so, yeah, I just want to make sure you were up to date on that.
Okay. Not on the agenda, but did we?
Wait, one other thing I want to talk about along with that, just again, because we're just trying to make sure we're really working with the STEEL standards and with just science in general and STEM, and we are joining the BCIU and other county school districts in the Chief Science Officers Program, and it's something we're excited to offer some of our students. Basically, about, I think it's 5 or 6 of our students in middle school and high school are attending this, and what it will allow them to do is it'll allow them to collaborate with other students across the county and give a chance for our students to advocate for STEM in our schools and then come back and really excite the rest of the students in our district to learn science and just be a part of science. So it's starting this year, but we hope to continue it through the next however many years they offer it. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention because it is something that's on the, I think on the agenda, there's a line that states that the Chief Science Officers are going to GobbleWorks, I think, next week.
Okay, and how are those kids chosen?
So they recommend that you have like a whole process, voting other students, asking students to recommend their people that they think would represent 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. But because we started the process so late, we did their second recommendation, which is teacher and administrator recommendations. So for this year, that's how we did it.
Okay.
But again, moving forward, we'd like to do it the way that their first recommendation.
And how many students are
This
included?
year, I think we have 5.
5. Out of the whole middle school, or is it middle and high?
It's middle and high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And we're lucky enough to have Karen Worrell lead this work. She's very passionate about STEM and bringing, making our program as good as it can be. And she's taking the lead on that and is excited to just move forward.
Okay. All right. And as I started to say, not on the agenda, how are we addressing the sub shortage?
Yes, so we have a lot of information about that.
Okay. Good.
Let me get to my other slide here. So just to let you know too, because specifically your question was asking about the separation of the kids.
Yeah,
So
they're
I
just
did
being
ask-
split.
Yeah, I did ask all building principals to what their procedure was when they went about getting subs. But I think the root of the problem is elsewhere.
So, and it's just to help frame this up, I think it might help if I start from like the high level, talking about what's going on with substitute coverages and what's good and what's bad. Because there are really 3 components to that, and then probably after I do that part, we can dive into like specific plans that we have in each building. So, it's not always the reading interventionist that's pulled for X, Y, and Z. So, coincidentally, ESS, who is our contracted sub-service, they were in Friday And so I was picking their brain a little bit, and I asked for a fair amount of data from them, starting with what are the pay rates, what are the total counts on absences, because it's really a three-pronged approach. Let's see if I can remember all three that I had in my mind earlier. First one has to do with the amount of absences that we're creating as a district, which is just being open, honest, and transparent, higher than it should be. And then the second part has to do with our fill rates and what ESS is doing to get as many substitutes to cover our absences as possible. And the third part that goes along with that somewhat has to do with the amount that we pay for our daily subs. So just working our way through this, we currently pay our teachers, our daily teachers, not the building subs that are there every single day. It looks like $105 daily. Our building subs, so the substitute teachers that are there that report to the building every single day no matter what, they receive $120 a day. Looking at some countywide data, we are the lowest in Berks County with what it is that we are paying our subs. It seems as though the average is much more in that 135, 140, 145 number. And it seems as though there are different numbers for if you just come and sub, you're, let's say, 130. If you come X number of days, you're 150 now. If you're a building sub, you're this. If you're a retired teacher, you're this. So they have different rates across the county. I think the highest is actually Muhlenberg. They're, I want to say, 170, 180 a day. It's the highest, significantly so, across the county. So that is one thing that we're going to have to look at some point. But what we're seeing is an increase in the percent of coverages. So they gave us 22, 23 data, where our overall fill rate is 50% for last year. This year we're up to 63%, but you know it still hurts, especially more at like the high school building, where the coverage rate is 55% relative to the 87% that we see in the primary center. So, I mean, and that's just a straight drop off as you continue up in the grades.
Wait, it's how many subs?
No, it's how many are being filled
So we're only filling 50%?
in the high school.
Yeah.
14. That's me.
Is that you?
Rob.
I just shut mine off.
Oh, okay.
That's why I went off.
Yeah, okay, we're back. That's always fun.
But
So-
you said we also have higher than normal with teachers'
Absentees.
absence.
Yeah,
Is
so
there a
on.
reason for that? Or?
So that's actually interesting. We were talking about that during cabinet this morning, and well, I hate to say it, I think some of that is cultural. I think there's an acceptance that we can just take off all the time without too much of an impact. And the sad truth is there is a negative impact, and it's a touchy subject because people have sick days, and contractually they're allowed to use them.
Compared to other districts where
Well-
we...
I don't have that data.
How many daily subs per building do you have? Like how many subs does the AIC have?
How many building subs?
Uh-huh. They show up every
building
day.
has 2
Really?
that are building subs.
And they come
except
every day?
Yep, except for the middle school that has 3. We're trying to get to 3 building subs in each building,
Uh-huh.
but obviously it's a little tricky to find people that are comfortable with the 120 price point when they can be a daily sub
Right.
elsewhere for more.
I will say, and this might not be related or popular, but I have noticed after 7 years on the board that this district approves a lot of unpaid days, which
Yes.
my district does not. There are no unpaid days in I guess there are, but it's so rare that like when I look down the minutes, and I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or whatever, and I'm not judging whatever they're doing. I'm saying, like, I was like, well, I should come work here. Like I could extend my vacation for 3 more days. Like that's unheard of where I'm from.
Right.
Really?
Unheard
Yeah.
of. Big
Yeah.
time.
We have a more liberal.
Yeah, we have a very liberal,
Absentee
and the
policy.
rollover
And
of
how
the
long has this
personal
been
days.
going on for? Like how
The
many-
entire time I've been on the board, 7 years.
So it's going to be hard to
More
change
than that, too.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why when I say, like, I believe it's a little
It's
cultural.
cultural, yeah.
I think
Well, I know like everywhere right now, it's hard, like, and people call off, like all the people I work with will like call off all the time, and I.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to work in partnership with the association, because they also are, I don't know, it's called a meeting. They're some parents of the absenteeism as well, and they want that absentee rate to drop. People get sick, I get it, it happens. We want you to be able to stay home when you're sick, but I would say we're on the higher side of what that absence rate should be. So that's one area where I feel like we can try to do what we can. I feel like we have a little bit more control as a district there to work with our teachers. Some of the other areas, obviously, we're looking to change pay rate for what we're doing for substitute teachers. Obviously, we'd have to talk about that as a board and figure that one out together, because that would impact our bottom line, which is not budgeted for additional rates for our substitute teachers moving forward for this year. Maybe that's something we do next year moving forward. I don't know.
Praise the ones with perfect attendance, give them a
Yeah.
certificate at the end of the year.
Yeah, correct. Correct. So, I mean, that's really where we stand right now organizationally with our substitute teacher issues. They have lists that they provided to me of all the different places they've been and gone, from Kutztown to Zoom hiring events, to community events, Chili Pepper festivals, sporting events, where they're setting up tables and trying to recruit as many people as they can.
And I don't doubt that we've been, that's
Yeah.
not my thing. My main concern is our first line of defense. Is our first line of defense to stick 3 kids in another room? Because I know, and it probably only matters to me because of my 4 kids, I have one that truly struggles.
Yeah.
And she gets to sit on a floor doing something else that isn't helping her.
apply.
It's not helping her.
Yeah, so at this point...
That's where my
so,
concern is.
Explain.
Two things I wanted to talk about too. Also, when we say we have 2 building subs in every building, the information I got from the intermediate center specifically is that there is only 1 building sub at the moment. And I believe what's lagging here is one of our building subs just quit, and it was due to money. Like, I was so excited when I met her. She's so dynamic, such a great personality. But she went to Muhlenberg, which was going to pay her $180 a day. So
I've talked to a lot of people that sign up to sub, and they said that like Boyertown and other neighboring school districts are paying more. And while they would love to stay with Dana Boone because their kids go here, this is like a closer drive. They said it's more pay elsewhere.
So, anyway, so back to...
So do we pull like?
So we try, so they start with the building sub.
Mhm.
They try, it's kind of ebbed and flowed through the years. You know, there for a while, it was always the math interventionist, the reading interventionist, so on and so forth. And then it went to, okay, we have this MTSS structure, and we're not even using it because all the systems that we have in place, they're getting pulled to go into the classroom.
Right.
So then it went to, okay, now we're going to split classrooms. So
And I dare say, though, with 9 of each grade level, that's actually your worst option,
Yeah.
because there's no way those 9 teachers are on the same lesson each day. It doesn't happen.
yeah.
And that's really bad for those 30 kids that are split. And I know, I'm not saying there's a direct answer. I'm not saying it's great to pull the interventionist, but I know we pull our IST first, then we pull our intervention, then we have the principal sub before we ever split a class. I haven't split a class in 4 years.
Has this happened often to your daughter this year?
Only once that she's told me about. It's just the fact
And
that
she's
it's
in what grade?
third, that it's already happening.
I mean,
it's
I've been hearing about
once is too much. Like, it happened a ton last year.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I don't,
They would divide them up into like 4
Yeah,
different classrooms.
yeah.
And,
no,
yeah.
that's not good for anybody. So, all right. So we're hiring a second, hopefully?
Hopefully, a
If we
third.
can find somebody to take it. Got it. All right. I appreciate that information.
That's going to be difficult, lower rate.
But
Can
he said
we- is
we're
there
already not
something-
budgeted for it, though, so it's,
We can encourage them to come here for
we can encourage them to come to work.
to come to Daniel Boone.
Oh, I thought you meant the teachers to come to work.
No,
Like,
to come to
please
Dana.
come to work.
Telling Tom earlier that the Berks County Intermediate Unit has a guest teacher program. And
Mhm.
I don't know how well that's been doing, but,
Almost all of our subs are non-certified, a large percentage of them at this point in time. Because we're always improving them in Tim's.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a large large percentage of
A
the
lot of emergency service.
We're trying
So,
to do
and do we actively recruit student teachers?
Yes.
Okay, because I have one every single semester, and like, not that it replaces me, but like now they can do 10 days where they can take over and teach for me, like when I'm in Bermuda in 2 days. So, look at that.
Like that,
So,
throw that in.
I'll roll that right in there. So,
So
okay.
on this question, I'm coming to the board just asking because it's very conversational. Is there interest from the board to evaluate sub-rates?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, so.
I'm not on this committee.
you can whisper it to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think what is worth it, because I operate very heavily in data-driven decisions. So we'll take a look at what some of the surrounding rates are for both ESS as well as other competitive contracting. I mean, pretty much everybody's sub-services out at this point. So we'll investigate and follow up as soon as we have some hard data and
Perfect.
information to follow up with.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, does anybody have anything else? All right, and I can't tell what time, here we go, it's 6:27 because my computer died. And we'll conclude the curriculum and instruction meeting.